Hello, welcome to Elephant in the Room. These are short adventures in geography designed to make you think. This time we're going to look at priorities because it's an area of life and school and answering questions in exams and politics and environment and everything else where mad and stressful things often happen. Just ask anyone about what actually goes on in their jobs. So priorities are really about how you choose to do one thing instead of some other thing. Like, let's say, lounge about watching telly instead of do your homework. Or subsidise fossil fuels instead of think about how to change our economies. And when we make decisions like this, when we evaluate our options, what we're really doing is a bit of maths. You might not think so, but that's what we're actually doing. It's like when we catch a ball. Apparently we tip our heads back so we can see the ball coming in and then literally calculate the tangent of the angle in our minds. Luckily for calculating priorities, it's a bit simpler than that. We might start off by looking at the gain side, the benefit, what we get out of doing something. Some things, like eating cake, have pretty high gain, at least in the short term. Maybe we give cake a 10 for gain. Depending on what you're watching, I suppose, telly might have some gain. Let's say 5 for telly, less than cake, but definitely higher than homework, which sometimes seems like virtually zero gain. Maybe there's some gain though, so let's give that 1. And then we rank these things, put them in order from the top to the bottom. We prioritise them. So it might go cake first, then telly, homework last. But there's also a pain side, isn't there? Like a cost. Homework usually involves at least some pain. Some subjects are worse than others, so they have more pain. You might have to read something boring, or, God forbid, actually write something down. And there's always some annoying smart aleck who does it really well. So maybe homework has a pain of 10. Telly, on the other hand, might have quite low pain, although I suppose it could attract the unwelcome attention of a stressed out parent. So maybe we'll give that a pain of 2. Eating cake might have lots of gain, but it almost always involves getting permission. Do you deserve it? And that is a pain. And if you don't bother getting permission, well, that's bound to really annoy someone and turn it into a problem. Maybe even a 10-scale pain. So when we rank by pain, our list might go telly at the top with cake and homework equal at the bottom. But we're clever so-and-sos, so what we do is calculate the gain per pain, the gain divided by the pain, the gain-pain ratio, like a cost-benefit ratio. So for telly, it's 5 gain divided by 2 pain, so that's 2.5. For cake, it's 10 gain divided by 10 pain, so that's 1. And for homework, it's 1 gain divided by 10 pain, so 0.1. So when we rank these, our priorities are a bit more subtle. First telly, then not far behind cake, maybe deferred until the cake situation is clear, and then far below those, homework. And we do this sort of thing in our heads whenever we're facing a decision. Now, in the real world, there are a few problems with this. First of all, there's how we think about time. In the short term, cake may be better than homework, but in the longer term, it's probably the other way round. Too much cake and not enough homework, and you just end up poorly qualified and overweight. So our timescale makes a big difference to how we estimate our pains and gains. There's also that we're rarely free to choose, and much of the stuff on our list is really coming in from the people around us, and they probably got it from other people as well. This seems especially true when it comes to problems, doesn't it? Which spread around like wildfire, hunting down people to give sleepless nights to. There's how we think about problems too. Sometimes our lists are so full of problems, all clamouring for our attention, that it isn't about choosing the best thing, it's about getting rid of the worst things, as though the gain is the pain you wouldn't have if you got rid of that thing. Probably not the greatest strategy for a positive life and good mental health, but lots of people do this. But perhaps the most serious problem is the sheer number of things that end up on our lists. Sometimes there are tons of them, and we're never going to get through them all. Maybe we can manage the top few, but anything underneath that is not going to happen, and really some of them might just as well not be on the list at all. But we have this terrible habit of just adding more and more junk to our lists, giving ourselves more and more to worry about, and probably not doing the things on the top of the list properly as a result. And because many of these things are problems and short-term and, according to someone else, super urgent, if we're not very, very careful, the stuff that really is important and would really make a positive difference is quickly drowned out by stuff that isn't important and won't improve anything. Sometimes you find that something at the top of your list is creating so many other problems that it's just not worth it. But sometimes you've just got to be brave and make sure that those things that really matter stay right at the top of your list, no matter what. So, what I want you to do is to really think about your list. What's on it? What are the pains and gains and gain-pain ratios? What's at the top? Add up all your pains and gains. Is your list dominated by pain or gain? What are you going to do to make your list more positive and effective? Thanks for listening. See you next time.